it's Linnea here for icrafter, and today I am introducing the Box Pops Scooter Love die set. Now this die set pairs with the original Box Pops oval base die set, and you will need that die set in order to create your Box Pops card. The Box Pops Scooter Love die set has 15 pieces, and it can create this cute little scooter with a bunch of balloons, and then there's all the pieces to embellish your scooter so you can make it a multicolored scooter, and then there's also the sentiment pieces to form the words "Be Mine." From the original Box Pops oval base die set, I need the large die that's going to form the Box Pop base, and then I'm going to use one of the drop-in pieces, which you see on the screen here, and I'm going to line that up right with that little notch there in the Box Pop oval base die set. This is going to allow me to have an additional pop-up feature in my Box Pops card, and you'll see that as we get going here. I have some pattern paper that just has horizontal dots on it for a fun pattern, and I'm going to die cut my Box Pop oval base from this using my translucent cutting deck and my iMend self-mending cutting deck. So you can see here that the one part of my oval base is going to have that little notch. That's again to create that additional pop-up feature. I removed that pop-in die, and I'm going to cut a second oval base. You do need two pieces to create your oval base. I only wanted to have one additional pop-up feature, but if you wanted two, you could keep that pop-in die in place, and you would be able to have an additional pop-up feature on both sides of your oval base. I cut that large scooter die from some pink cardstock, and then I cut all of those coordinating pieces from a bunch of different colors of cardstock so that I could form my scooter. I cut the tires from some black cardstock, and I am just using my iGrip flathead tweezers and some liquid adhesive to assemble the scooter together. If you wanted to, you could cut these pieces using some double-sided adhesive and save you some time with the adhesive. I cut the metal pieces of the scooter from some gray cardstock, again keeping this pretty true to color, but I really wanted that scooter itself to be pink. I thought that would be really cute. I'm just going to keep going, adhering all of my pieces together, and it's very easy to figure out which piece goes where, because in that large scooter die cut piece there are indentations. They're not really score lines, but there are indentations that mark where those pieces go so that you can form that scooter. Here's my finished scooter, and the only thing that's left to do is to adhere this bunch of flowers together so that I can put that in the basket on the scooter. I cut my flowers from some hot pink cardstock, and I'm going to layer this up here. I found it easiest to layer if I looked at those holes and made sure that they matched up together. Okay, so now let's form that oval base. I'm going to just start folding on all the score lines. There's a few score lines here, but again, the die does a really nice job of leaving those score lines so you know exactly where to fold. I'm using my iPress burnisher to reinforce those score lines. Since this is an interactive card, I like to use that burnisher to really make sure that my score lines are going to fold and be nice and crisp, since we're going to be folding this back and forth, and you want this to be flat so it can fit in an envelope. I find that iPress burnisher really helps with that. Then I'm going to add a bit of adhesive. You can use double-sided adhesive, but I like to use liquid here, onto that tiny little flap, and then fold it in half, and you're going to have two halves of your oval base. Here's where you're going to add that additional little pop-up piece. I cut the arm, which is what I like to call it, from the original Box Pop oval base die set, folded up that bottom piece, and I'm just going to adhere the bottom of that arm onto the bottom of the oval base. This is where that drop-in piece comes into play. So it created that little slit up at the top, and I can just put that arm right through and adhere that to the bottom of the oval base. Then when you go to add your pop-up item, you're just going to glue it right onto that arm. I decided to pop up my sentiment. If you don't want to pop up your sentiment, you could add it on to what I like to call the wall of the oval base. See how it has that like outer edge? You could glue your sentiment on there. I'm going to be hanging my sentiment off of that arm so that I can fit it on there and it'll pop up nicely. But I wanted to give it some stability. Since only part of the word, in fact only part of the M really is attached to that arm, I went ahead and I cut the Be Mine twice. Once from that hot pink cardstock that I want the sentiment to be shown in, and then once from white cardstock, and I'm going to glue that onto the back so that it has some stability. Before you put your oval base card together, you want to make sure that you're adding your pop-up feature on one half of the oval. So I added that scooter on, let that dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and add both halves of these ovals together. You want to make sure you add adhesive onto those little notches on the side too, because you want those securely adhered together. And then I'm just going to fold this back and forth, making sure that all of my sides line up so that I know when I go to fold this up, it's going to go together perfectly. The last step is to adhere the walls of that oval base together. So I added some liquid adhesive onto that one tab and again kind of squiggled it around, made sure that it was put together so that all of the sides lined up. And then I'm going to put adhesive onto that last side and glue this all together. It's all done now. All you have to do to pop this up is to kind of hold that and push it up from the bottom and lock it in on the sides. I did decide to add those little balloons onto the scooter, but you want to make sure that they are not going to interfere when you are opening and closing your Box Pops card. So I'm holding my balloons in my left hand and I'm kind of using my right hand to pop that up and down and make sure that wherever I'm going to put those balloons coming off of the scooter is not going to interfere and I'm going to be able to fold this flat. Again, that is to make sure that I can put this through the mail in an A2 sized envelope. I'm going to glue that onto the back of the scooter and this card is done. All you have to do to pop it down is to push in the middle on the seam and it'll pop down, and then press on the sides to pop that up and lock it in place. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you're inspired.